This is my room. It's in my mum's house, and the idea behind living here for a bit was that I could save some money up in order to move into a place of my own. And as soon as this quarantine's over, I plan to move somewhere.
Oh boy, another adventure. Down here.
What are you doing here, Frodo? You're meant to be in a box in the basement.
Well, you left me in there with an armoured Uruk-hai, a transformer and a couple of spaceships. The conversation dried up very quickly.
You had half the Fellowship with you too.
We were contracted into it and stuck together for 6 months before Gandalf fell down that hole. The friendship was only for the cameras. Dwarves smell bad, and elves are massive narcissists.
So, what are you doing up on my desk? And how did you even get onto my desk?
I'm ready for more excitement. I want some tales of great journeys.
Alright, I suppose I could tell you about the last time I moved out and what it's like living away from home at uni for the first time.
Are there any dragons?
No.
Goblins?
No.
Well, there's got to be some giant mountain-dwelling spiders.
No.
Alright, but it just doesn't sound as good as Bilbo's stories. But I suppose it's better than the shoebox.
Alright then. So it all began. The first thing I'll say here is going to uni is not the same as moving out to get a place of your own. Quite apart from the financial side of things, which is important, you're going to be paying for very little of this. It's a different sort of independence. So you're probably going to be in student-friendly accommodation for the whole of the 3 years, and whether that be student halls or privately rented flats, they're going to have similar characteristics. So they're going to be small, compact, everything's going to have white down surfaces. You're probably going to have no living room because in a vast majority of the houses I went to at uni, the living room had been converted into a bedroom because it makes the rent a little bit cheaper, because then you can squeeze one more person in and they can share a portion of the rent. Moving into rented accommodation while you're at uni is a good way to practice doing it without having all the pressures of really having to do it. So for example, I didn't know what council tax was until I got to uni, but luckily you don't have to pay council tax when you're a student. It's good knowledge to have, but you won't need to deal with it until you move into a place of your own after uni, or after being a student. In your first year of uni, the likelihood is you're going to be in student halls, which is run by the university itself. I'm going to go off my halls here because it's the ones I know most about, obviously. But it's a series of flats with 6 to 8 people in each flat, and then at one end you've got a big communal kitchen, which is the filthiest kitchen you'll ever have. 4 sets of rooms opposite each other, and in that room you have a little desk, probably a single bed unless you're very lucky, and a little ensuite bathroom. If you're very unlucky, then you'll end up with a shared bathroom. We're going to cut to some virtual tours of those halls now. Pick. So this is your standard single uni room, and this is not how anyone's room looks. I actually remember it feeling a bit bigger than this when I was in it, but give it a week and there'll be dirty washing everywhere. And I'm talking washing up as well as items of clothing, because socks do not stay congregated in one area at uni. Beware of this little hole in the wall. It's a vent to stop the ceiling going mouldy, but I'm pretty sure all the vents and all the rooms are interconnected, because occasionally you can hear what's going on in the room above you, and I have a mate who reckoned he could smell weed from the room coming from below him. So we'll move over to the kitchen. Again, this is very much not how your kitchen is going to look. There's going to be pots and pans stacked up in that sink area straight away. I'm going to highlight here the little locks on the cupboard so you can stash your stuff without fear of anyone nicking it. This 360 thing is very hard to control. Double fridges here. First thing you want to do when you get into your flat is swipe a shelf in that fridge, because you need to split up your food between you. I mean, that's what we did. This is the laundry area. When I was there, I remember it being £1.60 for a wash and £1.40 for a dry, I think. So £3 every time you want to wash your clothes. So definitely bring a supply of underwear with you. And now I'm just going to move on and show you some other halls and other unis. But it's all pretty much of a muchness. It's small and neat and tidy when you all look at it now. Everything's wiped clean, the kitchens are a bit tiny and dingy, but that's just your standard uni halls. And I believe at the moment Paragon is up for £179 a week, so that's about £700 a month, which sounds like a lot, but bear in mind that's with everything included: gas, electric, water, even Wi-Fi. And I reckon £750 is probably the most you want to be spending a month on rent, even if you're in London. I think when I was living there I paid £500 not including bills in the second year, and £630 including bills in my third year, not including Wi-Fi though, so probably about £650 a month. And here we've got an example of the real kitchen.
Yeah, got a carton of juice, got the ironing board, doesn't get used, overflowing bins, overflowing sinks.
Hold on. I'm Still having the washing up. You get used to this when you live in pools for a while. Look at that. This isn't my kitchen, by the way. This is Max's.
There are obviously pluses and minuses for living in halls. One of the big pluses is that it's easy living, you don't have to do anything for your first year. They'll put you in touch with whoever owns the sets of halls, and then they do everything for you, so you don't have to worry about paying electricity bills or water bills or council tax or anything. It's all just lumped into one sum. For some people, I feel like having your own space is an issue because there's often a cheap feel to university halls. So in my friend's flat, there was a lot of musical theatre students, and you could hear them practising every hour of the day. You can hear the singing through the walls, which is not ideal. I'm not trying to say that living in halls is a negative experience because of how close people are, but it's definitely something you have to accept. You're going to be living in close proximity to your fellow students. On the subject of social lives and university living, this isn't the be-all and end-all, and I'm not the expert. And in my first year, I just got together with my first girlfriend, so I spent a majority of my first year, or at least a majority of the weekends, going over to East London to stay at her flat instead, for the simple reason that she had a double bed and I didn't. So I feel like that detracted a lot from the social element of living in the halls. But the normal thing you do, well, I think what the vast majority of people do is make friends with people who they live with in halls, and then in second year they move into a house with those people. I didn't have that because I spent all my first year going back and forth to my girlfriend's flat, but that was fine because the second year I moved in with her. But this was both a plus and a minus for my whole university experience, because obviously I was moving in with someone who I was already friendly with, I'd known for a few years. There was no nervy, what's it going to be like living with a new person, because I knew who she was, obviously. But on the downside of that, I do feel like sometimes I missed out on the group house situation. There are elements of that I would have enjoyed and would have been fun, and that is part of the experience of going to university. And in general, I think that's one of the most important points that you should consider when you're about to move into a house. If you move into a house with someone who you don't enjoy the company of, or who you just plainly don't like, it's going to ruin that house for you, because you're not going to want to be in it. Living with someone in halls is not the same as living in a house with them, because you're not with them 24/7. You don't know their habits, whereas when you're in a house with them, you can't escape that. The point I want to really get across now is that when it's good, it's really good at uni. If you're living with people who you like in a setting that you enjoy and you're having a good time, then it's a really good time. So I'd like to welcome you now to an epic new TV programme, University Cribs.
And welcome to Max's Crib. I'm Noah Barco, he's Max Mowbray. Let's get round to the tour. We have the bed of the famous Max Mowbray. This is where the magic happens. And now I'm going to take you through to the living room. The living room / kitchen. I bet you didn't see that coming, did you? I'll take you over to the hobs. This is where his housemate makes lots of mess. But tonight we have officially the splash zone. This room has been known to lose power at times, and if it does, you're in the shit, son. Now, get you back through here. We're getting into the fridge. Come round this side of me, right? You ready? You ready? It's not ordinary milk. It's Polish milk. We got an apple here. This is the apple that fell on Newton's head. Now we're going to do these are the tomatoes. Great for a fryer. Now we've got some fucking bevs in here. So who the fuck's drinking shandy? You are fucking
I hope that brought something to everyone. It's good times, and we were always able to come out at the end the best of friends, and we still are today.
So, what did you think of my story in the end?
He didn't even have to fight anyone.
I mean, no, there's no danger of death in it, but I think the point is that it's an experience that everyone can undertake, and everyone can get something out of. It's like if, say, Gandalf had given you an express tour of Middle-earth on those eagles that conveniently turned up at the end of the film, real story, not film, then it would have been a much easier journey. The only thing you stand to lose is time, and people have a lot of time.
So what you're saying is, we've both been on a life-changing journey.
You know, I think what we have in common is that we've both come away with something that is going to be with us for the rest of our lives.
Well, I got loads of injuries on my journey.
You got stabbed in the shoulder. I went to uni and ended up in a load of debt. And that debt is not going to be with me for the rest of my life. And I think that's the mistake people make. that debt gets wiped off after 30 years. And as I go, I can pay it off, so it will get smaller. Depending on whether or not I earn enough to beat the interest, but that's another story. Either way, that debt isn't going to affect me like being stabbed in the shoulder. I mean, you went off and you were friends with like 3 wizards. You're in a better position than me here.
I'll never forget it.
I think the bottom line is, the difference between your story and mine is that there's no threat to my story. It's something everyone should experience, and everyone can experience, and it will benefit everyone. Whether or not they want to go to uni, experiencing living away from home in a uni environment would be beneficial.
You should have gone to uni in Hobbiton, mate. You would have fitted right in with that barnet and those hairy toes.